The screen fades in two slow-motion shots of the Heartland ranch at sunrise, golden light spilling over the fields. Horses running through the mist, the sound of wind whispering through the trees. Narrator voiceover. Calm yet emotional. Every place has its ghosts. Some are memories that won't fade. Some are people we can't let go of. At Heartland, the past has a way of finding its way home. And this time, it's not just a shadow from yesterday, it's a truth waiting to be faced. Cut to quick flashes. Amy looking out across the fields. Jack, sitting silently in the barn. Lou closing her eyes in thought. And a distant figure approaching the ranch road. Narrator, in Season 19. Episode 3, titled Ghosts. The past doesn't just knock on the door. It walks right in. The screen fades to black with a subtle text overlay. Heartland, Season 19, Episode 3, Ghosts. The morning begins quietly at the Heartland Ranch. The soft hum of nature surrounds the house, birds in the distance, horses grazing, and the faint clatter of tools from the barn. On the surface, everything seems peaceful, but there's a strange heaviness in the air. It's a kind that hints at something stirring beneath the calm. Amy walks through the yard, brushing her hand along the fence. She pauses, taking a deep breath as if trying to shake off a feeling she can't quite name. It's been years since she felt this unsettled. Not since Ty's passing, not since the world she knew changed forever. But today feels different. Almost like the land itself is whispering something she's not ready to hear. Narrator soft, reflective. Heartland has always been a place of healing, of second chances. But healing doesn't mean forgetting. Sometimes the past rides alongside you, quiet, patient, waiting for the right moment to be seen. Meanwhile, Jack tends to the horses, his every movement slow and deliberate. There's a weight in his eyes, a quiet wisdom earned from decades of loss, love, and survival. He senses Amy's unease, but says nothing. He's learned that some things can't be talked out, they have to be lived through. Cut to the barn interior. Shafts of sunlight cutting through the dust-filled air. Amy brushes Spartan, her mind elsewhere. She stops when she hears a faint creak behind her, a sound that's too real to ignore. Turning around, she finds nothing but an open stall door swaying in the wind. Still, the feeling lingers like someone was just there. Narrator. In Ghosts, the word takes on many meanings. It's not just about spirits or hauntings. It's about the echoes of those who've shaped us. Ty's presence still lingers in Amy's heart, in every choice she makes, in every quiet moment she spends with Spartan. But there's also another ghost, one that's been left unspoken for far too long. As the morning stretches on, Amy finds a photograph tucked inside an old tack box, one she hasn't opened in years. The edges are worn, and the image is faded, but she knows that face. Someone from her past, someone she never expected to think about again. She stares at it, her heart beating faster, the camera slowly zooming in as the wind outside picks up. The world feels suddenly colder, and for the first time in a long while, Amy feels truly alone. Narrator low, emotional, sometimes the hardest ghosts to face. Aren't the ones we see? They're the ones we still feel. Cue music swell. Camera pulls back to a wide shot of the ranch. Storm clouds forming in the distance. The day moves slowly. But something feels off, as if the air around Heartland has thickened with memories. The sky is still clear, yet the light feels dimmer. There's a quiet tension, the kind that doesn't come from fear, but from the weight of remembering. Soft instrumental music plays, piano and strings. Gentle but haunting. Amy sits at the kitchen table, the photograph still in her hand. The camera lingers on her face, distant, thoughtful. She runs her fingers over the worn paper, tracing the outline of a man standing beside a horse. His smile is familiar, yet painful. It's not Ty, but someone from long before. Narrator, low, reflective tone. Memories don't fade. They wait. They hide in the corners of your mind, tucked between laughter and loss, between who you were and who you've become. And when the moment comes, they rise uninvited, unstoppable. Jack walks in quietly, his boots heavy on the wooden floor. He glances at Amy, then at the photograph. He doesn't ask. He doesn't need to. The silence between them says enough. Years of shared grief have taught them that some questions are better left to time. Amy looks up finally, her voice barely a whisper. Do you ever think about the ones who left, Jack? Not the ones we lost, but the ones who walked away? Jack's eyes soften, his jaw tightens. He takes a deep breath before answering. Every day, Amy, but you can't chase ghosts. They come back when they're ready. Cut to exterior shot, the wind picking up dust along the ranch road, as if echoing Jack's words. Narrator, Heartland has seen joy, heartbreak, and rebirth. But what happens when the past refuses to stay buried? When old choices start to haunt the present? Meanwhile, Lou drives toward the ranch. Her phone buzzes with messages from the city, meetings, deadlines, endless noise. But her mind isn't on business. She's been dreaming about her mother again, strange, vivid dreams that feel more like warnings than memories. In every dream, she sees the ranch gate swinging open and hears her mother's voice saying, "Don't let the past go." Lou's arrival breaks the stillness. She steps out of the car, spotting Amy through the kitchen window. For a moment, she hesitates. It's been weeks since they really talked, truly talked without the weight of work or responsibility. She senses the same heaviness in Amy that she feels in herself. Camera pans to the distant hills, sunlight fading behind the clouds. Narrator, in episode 3.
Your ghosts.
The silence speaks louder than words. It's the quiet moments, the glances, the pauses, the things left unsaid that tell the story. Back inside, Amy folds the photograph and slips it into her pocket. Whatever it means, she knows it's not over. Not yet. She steps outside, the wind catching her hair, the smell of rain drifting in the air. The ranch feels different now, heavier, almost alive with memory. Narrator softly, fading. When you live long enough in one place, it remembers you. Every joy, every heartbreak, every ghost. Thunder rumbles faintly in the distance as the screen slowly fades to black. The wind changes before the storm arrives. The horses sense it first, restless, uneasy, their ears flicking toward something unseen. The sky, once soft and golden, darkens into shades of gray. The air thickens with the smell of rain and secrets. Amy stands by the paddock, her eyes tracing the horizon. In the distance, thunder rolls like a warning. It's the kind of sound that feels ancient, as if the land itself remembers every tear and every promise ever made upon it. She tightens her jacket, but the chill running through her isn't from the weather. It's from the feeling that she's not alone. Narrator low, haunting tone. Some storms bring rain. Others bring the truth. Sudden flash of lightning illuminates the barn. For a moment, Amy swears she sees someone standing near the doorway, a figure half-shadowed, watching. But as the light fades, the space is empty again. The silence that follows is louder than thunder. She forces herself to breathe, shaking off the thought. Maybe it's exhaustion. Maybe it's memory. But deep down, she knows better. The ghosts of Heartland never appear without reason. Cut to the interior of the barn. Jack is there, checking the stalls, preparing for the storm. The wind pushes through the open doors, carrying dust and old whispers. He looks up as Amy walks in, her face pale, her voice uncertain. Jack, have you ever felt like this place is trying to tell us something? She asks. Jack pauses, gripping the handle of his lantern. The land speaks, Amy, he says quietly. You just have to be willing to listen, even when you don't like what it's saying. Narrator. Heartland has always been more than just a ranch. It's a memory, one that holds on to the people who loved it and the ones who couldn't stay. The rain begins, soft at first. Each drop hits the tin roof with a steady rhythm, like an old heartbeat returning after years of silence. Amy closes her eyes, and in the sound of the storm, she hears something else. A voice, gentle, familiar. It's not clear, not loud, but it's enough to make her step back. The voice sounds like ties, not in words, but in feeling. That warmth, that quiet strength she hasn't felt in so long. Her heart aches, not from fear, but from longing. Narrator soft, emotional. Grief doesn't disappear. It transforms. It hides in rain and wind. in the way someone's name feels when you whisper it into the dark. Cut to Lou, standing on the porch, watching the storm roll in. She's on the phone with Mitch, her voice calm but distracted. Her gaze keeps drifting toward the barn, as if she can sense something happening there. The thunder cracks again, louder now. The lights flicker. Amy opens her eyes and whispers, "If you're still here, show me." The wind howls through the open doors, scattering hay across the floor. The lanterns sway. And then, something falls from the loft. An old leather notebook, dusty, weathered, the initials TB, carved faintly into the cover. Amy stares, frozen. Her hands tremble as she picks it up. The storm outside roars, but inside, everything else goes quiet. Narrator, quiet, reverent. Sometimes, the past doesn't need to knock. It finds its own way in. The storm has passed, but the world hasn't settled. Morning light crawls through the windows of the barn, soft and pale, casting long shadows across the floor. The rain has washed the dust away, leaving everything damp and raw, as if the night itself tried to cleanse the memories buried here. Amy sits on a bale of hay, Ty's old notebook resting on her lap. Her hands shake as she turns the pages, one by one, each filled with bits of his handwriting, sketches of horses, small notes about training methods, and quiet words meant only for himself. The ink has faded, but the emotion hasn't. Every mark on the page feels alive. It's like a pulse that refuses to stop. Narrator's soft, almost whispering. Love doesn't vanish when someone is gone. It lingers in ink, in soil, in the way their voice echoes inside you long after it's fallen silent. Amy pauses at a page with a rough sketch of Spartan. Underneath, in Ty's handwriting, are 5 words: "Trust the heart, not the fear." Her breath catches. It's something he used to tell her, back when they were learning how to heal broken horses. And each other. She closes the notebook and looks out toward the fields. The storm has left behind puddles that reflect the morning sky. The ranch feels alive again, but different. As if the ghosts she felt last night were never haunting her, it's only reminding her she wasn't alone. Cut to Jack standing outside, the wet ground soft under his boots. He watches Amy through the barn door, his face heavy with understanding. Narrator reflective. Jack has lost more than most could bear. But he's learned that the only way to live with ghosts is to stop running from them. He walks into the barn, his steps slow but sure. He sits beside Amy, not saying a word. She doesn't look up, but she feels the warmth of his presence. In silence, they share something sacred, grief that has aged into love, and pain that has learned to breathe. Amy finally speaks. "He never really left, did he?" Jack shakes his head. "No, Amy. People like that, they stay in the land, in us. You just have to keep listening." Camera pans out, the two sitting side by side, framed by the soft morning light spilling through the barn doors. Narrator, the heart is a strange place. It can break 1,000 times and still keep beating. It remembers every smile, every goodbye, every promise whispered into the wind. Meanwhile, Lou steps into the barn doorway, holding 2 mugs of coffee. She's been watching from afar, unsure of what Amy's been going through. But when she sees the notebook in her sister's hands, she knows. Her face softens, not with pity, but with understanding. She sets the coffee down and quietly wraps her arms around Amy. No words. Just warmth. Narrator, soft, emotional. Family doesn't always heal the pain. But it reminds us that we don't have to face it alone. Outside, the wind has calmed. The birds return, the horses graze, and the light grows warmer. The land that once felt haunted now feels peaceful, like the ghosts have found their place. Amy walks out of the barn, holding Ty's notebook against her chest. The camera follows her as she heads toward the pasture, her boots leaving prints in the wet soil. She stops by Spartan and strokes his mane gently. Narrator, she thought she was being haunted by ghosts, but maybe she was being guided by them. Amy looks up at the sky, the clouds drifting apart to reveal a clear, endless blue. Narrator, final line of section. Sometimes what's gone isn't truly lost. It's just waiting for you to remember. It's fade out to soft piano music. It's blending with the sound of wind sweeping across the open fields. Morning stretches across Heartland like a promise. The storm is gone, but the air still hums with something sacred, something alive. Mist rolls low over the fields, wrapping the fences and trees in a silver haze. The ranch breathes again. The land that carried so much loss is quietly beginning to glow. Amy stands by the paddock, Ty's notebook tucked beneath her arm. The ground beneath her feet feels soft, forgiving. She watches Spartan move gracefully through the morning fog, his hooves slicing through puddles that mirror the rising sun. There's peace in that motion, steady, unbroken, free. Narrator, calm, reflective tone. Grief is not the end of love. It's the proof that love was real. The heart learns to carry both, the weight of what was lost and the light of what remains. Amy opens the notebook again. Between the pages, she finds something she missed before, a folded piece of paper, hidden deep inside. It's a letter. Old, creased, and fragile. The handwriting is unmistakably Ty's. She hesitates before unfolding it. The barn door creaks behind her, Jack again, silent, patient, like the spirit of the land itself. He doesn't speak. He simply nods, encouraging her to read. Amy takes a deep breath and begins. If you ever find this, Amy, I hope it's because you're still fighting for what matters. Don't let the world make you hard. Don't let time steal your fire. Keep healing even when it hurts. Because that's who you are. That's who we are. Her eyes fill. But this time the tears don't come from pain. They come from understanding. She folds the letter back carefully, her hands steady now. The wind brushes past her, almost playfully, as if carrying a message between worlds. Narrator, some goodbyes aren't meant to end. They're meant to guide, to lead us through the dark until we remember how to see again. Amy turns toward the stable, where a young horse, nervous, untrained, kicks at the stall door. She's been avoiding this horse for weeks, ever since it arrived. Too wild, too unpredictable, too much like the chaos she's been trying to calm inside herself. But now, something has changed. She steps inside slowly, her voice low and kind. The horse flinches, then pauses, meeting her gaze. For a moment, they just breathe, two souls learning how to trust again. Amy reaches out her hand, steady as sunrise. The horse doesn't move away this time. Soft piano chords build beneath the narration. Narrator gentle, emotional. Heartland isn't just a place. It's a story of people who fall, break, and still find a way to rise. Every scar on this land, every soul that's loved and lost here, has left behind a little light. Lou watches from the doorway, a faint smile on her lips. For the first time in a long while, she sees her sister not lost in grief, but standing inside it, unafraid, open, alive. Amy strokes the horse's neck, whispering something only the two of them can hear. The camera pans upward, sunlight spilling through the stable beams, dust floating like tiny sparks of gold. Narrator. From the ashes of yesterday, a new fire is born. Quiet at first, but strong enough to warm the soul. Amy opens the barn doors wide, leading the horse out into the light. The wind picks up gently, catching her hair, lifting it like wings. She closes her eyes, feeling the warmth on her face, the warmth of life, of love that endures. Narrator final lines, poetic and soft. She once thought ghosts were meant to haunt her. But maybe they were meant to guide her to the place where memory becomes strength and love becomes light. The screen fades to a glowing shot of Heartland bathed in sunlight. The storm has passed, but its lesson remains: not every ending is dark. Some are just the beginning of something new. The day unfolds like a quiet exhale. The storm has long passed, but its echoes have left something beautiful behind: clean air, bright skies, and the faint smell of wet soil that reminds everyone that life keeps moving. The ranch is alive again. Horses graze in open pastures. The fences glisten with dew, and the morning sun lays a golden path across the land. Amy walks that path slowly, the sound of gravel crunching under her boots. Each step feels lighter than the one before. Ty's notebook rests safely in her jacket pocket, close to her heart. But it's no longer a weight, it's a compass. Narrator soft. Warm tone. When the storm is over, you don't just find peace, you find direction. You remember where you belong. Jack stands by the truck, cleaning his tools. He glances up as Amy approaches, and for the first time in a long time, she's smiling, not forced, not fragile, but real. He nods, understanding without needing words. The silence between them feels different now, no longer heavy, but healing. Lou joins them, carrying 2 mugs of coffee and 1 extra for Amy. Her eyes are tired, but kind. She hands Amy the mug with a half smile. "You look lighter," Lou says. Amy laughs softly. "Maybe I finally let go of something I was never meant to hold so tight." Narrator, letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means making space for joy, for hope, for whatever comes next. As they talk, Katie runs across the yard, waving a letter in her hand. She's breathless with excitement. "Mom, Aunt Amy, look. There's going to be a charity horse show next week, and they're asking for trainers to volunteer." Amy takes the flyer, her eyes scanning it. For a moment, she hesitates. The old version of her, the one wrapped in fear and loss, might have said no. But the woman standing here now, with Ty's words in her heart, simply nods. "We'll do it," she says softly. For him, cut to the training ring later that day. The sound of hooves fills the air. Amy works with the young horse she once feared. Her movements are fluid now, confident, not forcing control, but finding harmony. The camera circles her slowly, capturing sunlight reflecting off her hair, the dust dancing around her like a quiet halo. Narrator gentle, inspired. Sometimes coming home isn't about where you are. It's about who you've become. The road back to yourself is long, but it's worth every step. Jack leans on the fence watching proudly. Lou and Katie cheer from the sidelines. The ranch, once filled with shadows, feels bright again, live with laughter. Amy finishes the training session and steps toward the gate. She looks up at the mountains in the distance, the same mountains Ty once dreamed of exploring. For a heartbeat, she swears she can feel him there, not as a ghost, but as the wind on her face, the warmth on her skin. Narrator softly, almost like a whisper. He never really left. He just became part of the place that made them who they are. Amy closes her eyes and smiles, whispering under her breath, "Thank you." The camera pans out, a wide shot of Heartland glowing under the afternoon sun. Horses grazing, family laughing, the ranch standing strong against the horizon. Narrator final lines of the section, poetic and heartfelt. Home isn't just the walls that shelter us. It's the memories that shape us, the love that keeps us standing, and the courage to move forward no matter how many ghosts we've faced along the way. Fade out to the sound of hooves, birds, and the distant wind, the eternal heartbeat of Heartland. Evening drapes over Heartland like a soft blanket. The light fades into warm amber, the sky painted with streaks of gold and lavender. The day is ending, but something inside Amy feels just beginning. The ranch is quiet now, peaceful in that familiar way that comes only after storms. When the world feels washed clean and honest, Amy walks through the fields alone. Spartan following beside her, his steps slow and steady. The wind moves gently through the grass, carrying with it the faint scent of rain and pine. It feels like the world is breathing again, and for the first time in a long while, so is she. Narrator.com, gentle tone. Ghosts don't always vanish when you stop seeing them. Sometimes they fade when you stop needing them. She stops near the old oak tree at the edge of the property, the place she and Ty once carved their initials. The mark is still there, worn by time, softened by weather, but still visible. Amy kneels, brushing her hand against the carving. The wood is rough, but comforting, like an old memory that no longer hurts to touch. A quiet smile spreads across her face. She doesn't cry. She doesn't speak. She just feels the earth beneath her palms, the wind across her skin, the heartbeat of the land that has carried every joy and sorrow she's ever known. Narrator soft, emotional. Love doesn't die. It changes shape. It becomes the air we breathe, the ground we walk, the memories that whisper when the world goes quiet. As Amy rises, a soft breeze rushes past her, warm, almost playful. She looks up instinctively, eyes catching the horizon where the sun is slipping behind the hills. And for just a moment, in that golden light, she sees him. Not clearly, not as a ghost or a dream, but as a feeling. A silhouette of peace. A presence that says, "You did it. You're okay." Her eyes fill, not with sadness, but gratitude. She whispers, "I'll always love you, Ty. But it's time." Spartan nudges her gently, as if agreeing. She laughs through the tears and strokes his neck. The camera slowly pulls back, capturing her standing in the wide field, the wind swirling her hair, the last light of the sun glowing around her like a halo. Narrator. She thought the ghosts of her past would haunt her forever. But they weren't there to scare her. They were there to guide her, to remind her that every ending is only another beginning. Cut to montage Amy riding Spartan through the open fields. Lou and Katie waving from the porch, Jack feeding the horses. The land stretches endlessly beneath the golden sky, timeless, steady, alive. Narrator final lines, heartfelt and poetic. The heart heals in its own time. The land remembers what we forget, and the ghosts we carry eventually become the light that leads us home. Fade to black. Text on screen, Heartland Season 19. Episode 3. Ghosts, CBC soft piano and acoustic guitar play under the closing credits.